I'm just going to lay out all my arguments here, and you'll see them on screen, annotated right here. Thank you. Click on them if you want to skip around. Otherwise, here we go. So my first thought is, why not buff other characters and tweak moves or create new ones to revamp a character's playstyle? But Bosh, it's so expensive. Mocap and stuff. These characters take so long to do all these things with. It's very expensive. You just don't understand. You don't develop games. Well, why is it more expensive to retool an existing character than it is to make an entirely new one? Oh wait, it fucking isn't. Plus, it wouldn't be the first time to do so. Leo got reworked entirely in Season 2. Y'all remember fucking Orbital into Orbital into Orbital? What? Remember when Pack 1 used to launch on counter hit? I do. Leo isn't a bad character by any means now either. Strong mix-ups, great whiff punishment, good wall carry, and impressive wall game. Shaheen got changed as well from being Helicopter Boy to something more of a mix-up character since like the old DR days. I didn't play on arcade, but seeing as how that scene is what got me into Tekken, as well as, you know, playing in university, knowing what he used to be versus what he is now completely blows my mind. It's not like this is entirely out of the realm of possibility for balance changes. But Bosh, how else are they supposed to make money? You gotta have the characters be ridiculously strong. You do not have to make a character that is so unbelievably broken that the only thing that anyone plays at EVO that year is that character. You can instead make them reasonable on release. They could be strong, but not so overblown that they ruin the entire competitive and casual scene for weeks on end. Nobody was enjoying fighting Morpheus in every goddamn match when he was so strong, parrying all of your moves, and you not being able to do a goddamn thing about him, his get-ins, his keep out, and his mix-up stance. Why subject us to all of that? For the sake of money? I don't think that's how you keep a community together, and I don't think that's how you get people to continue to buy your products. But hey, what do I know, man? I don't design games. My second point is that, you know, it is inevitable that new content may be objectively better than old content, but only at this point. With a roster as expansive in number and deep moves as Tekken's, it isn't difficult to assume that there would be an overlap in the role that these characters play. Gigas was the original you probably shouldn't block against this guy character, with an unblockable and charge moves. Sounds pretty familiar, huh? I mean, like, while there are clear differences in the kit of the two characters, Fakam Ram has a striking resemblance in his ranged punishment game, crazy long limbs, and scary on-block moves at the wall. However, when you compare them, it's clear that Fak is just better. He's faster, has better mix-ups, better lows, actual strings, he has a hell sweep, and he can launch you from forever away. My guy is sitting in Beijing, literally kicking my head in while I'm sitting in Brazil, playing on Wi-Fi in a tree. Like, what? And that shit's plus on block? Man, that's wild. Bosh, Akuma was in the game, and he's been OP since forever. We just didn't know. There could be more characters like that. I mean, perhaps it's possible, although it's extremely unlikely. Akuma has always been good, especially in the older incarnations of the game. They nerfed that character time and time again through the arcade versions of the game. Same thing with Shaheen. What allowed Akuma to be broken past that was the combination of down 2's unwhiff punishableness, is that even a word? And its high crush properties, and the fact that Akuma has meter, which gives him stupid high damage in comparison to literally anybody else on the roster, save Geese, who's also been nerfed time and time again. It just took a whole country with a hidden competitive scene that happened to not write off a character in its entirety when they see a change they didn't like to show the rest of the world how strong it really was. There aren't that many characters in the game anymore with undiscovered OP tools left to tinker with. And if they are, I don't really think we'll be able to see them by the time the game's life cycle is over. Tekken 7 is 5 years old, technically older now. It was released officially back in 2015. Things do come to an end eventually, right? But what about the return characters, Bosh? Armor King, Marduk, Julia, they're not OP. I mean, I guess. The returning characters had previous designs and data to ground them with. Julia's good, but requires experience and dedication to pilot. Personally, I'd say she's unironically one of the most slept on characters in the game, but maybe people just don't want to play a big titty anime girl or something. I wouldn't know. The other two, sure, I'm willing to admit they aren't the greatest, but the newcomers are usually ridiculous. Geese was crazy, with B3 confirming into B2 and almost being completely safe because you can keep doing it on block and the other person has to sit there and respect the second hit or get launched for half of their health bar. That, coupled with his great poking, obscene safety, and phenomenal damage with meter, made him ridiculous for like anybody to use. Leroy had a better version of every tool in the game for some reason. I don't know why. They might as well have given him a meter. And Kazumi, as a newcomer, was and still is crazy good despite the nerfs. I could go on, but it seems like a waste of time, really. I think all of this is a product of the video games as a service mentality that has overtaken the video game industry. Fighting games are partly at fault too because they take so much time and investment to get into anyway. It doesn't feel as bad to shell out $4 or $30 for a season pass when you've already put 400 hours into something, but how does a developer get you to spend that money if you think that the characters that they put out are dog shit? Please. Anime TNA only takes you so far, man. So what's the next best thing? You guessed it. Overpowered bullshit. Honestly, I feel like the worst part about all of this is all of the characters that go on to be unused. I unironically really like Gigas' aesthetic. His combos look big and powerful, but the character is just so bad in comparison to everything else. And now is a character that feels like the ideal realized version of Gigas in the game, and the character that Gigas was based off of, Marduk, is also in the game. Why would you ever pick Gigas? Like in any scenario, he's just not. It's just really sad. It feels like a bunch of wasted potential. I don't see characters like Gigas, Katarina, or Chloe making it back because of how unpopular they are. Despite the concepts being kind of cool, the stronger, newer options available just make them seem kind of whack. I think Chloe's a very unique and solid poke character. I don't think she's bad per se, but she hasn't really received the kind of changes that would help her linearity and obvious backturn gimmicks. So I don't think anyone really pays her any mind, and therefore the developers are forced to make characters that people will care about, which is just more overpowered bullshit. But then again, I don't have 200 years of game design experience like the League team, so maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you think in the comments.